You wake up to the blaring alarm. Half asleep and half awake, your hand reaches out to silence it. In that fleeting, precious moment between dreaming and reality, a choice is made, though you might not even realize it. Every morning, before your feet hit the floor, before the coffee starts brewing, before the noise of the world pulls you in, you quietly decide who you will be that day. It's not a conscious decision or a deliberate one, but a subtle whisper in your mind. Those first thoughts shape the mood of your entire day. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and philosopher who faced his own inner battles, reflected in his meditations, "When you rise in the morning, remember what a privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." Yet so many of us greet the day with dread, resistance, weighed down by yesterday's mistakes and tomorrow's worries. This isn't just about morning rituals, cold showers, meditation, or productivity tricks. It's something deeper and more personal. It's about the quiet ways we undermine ourselves before the day even begins. The mistake that taints everything that follows, the invisible cage formed by our first thoughts upon waking. So pause and really ask yourself, what is the very first thing you do when you open your eyes? Do you grab your phone and dive into other people's lives, problems and dramas? Or do you replay yesterday's conflicts, awkward moments, or missed chances? Do you feel the anxiety creep in about the presentation, the bills, the relationship that's hanging by a thread? You're not just waking up, you're choosing your emotional state. You're selecting your lens for the entire day, and most of us choose poorly, not because we're weak, not because we're broken, but because nobody ever taught us that this moment, this sacred, powerful, fleeting moment, is where everything begins. The Stoics understood something we've forgotten in our modern rush, that we are not victims of our circumstances, but architects of our responses. That freedom isn't found in controlling the world, but in mastering ourselves. And that mastery, it begins the moment you open your eyes. This video isn't comfortable. It won't give you easy answers or quick fixes. But if you stay with me, if you let these words settle into the places you've been ignoring, you'll discover the mistake that's been stealing your peace, your power, your potential. Every single morning of your life. I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. I choose my morning. I choose my life. Before we go deeper, hit that like button if you've ever woken up already defeated. Drop a comment with your biggest morning struggle. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe to this channel because we're going to dismantle the lies you've been telling yourself. And whatever you do, don't skip a single part of this video. Each point builds on the last, and the transformation happens in the accumulation. Let's begin. Number 1, the autopilot trap. Here's the first mistake. You're not actually waking up at all. Your body rises, your eyes open, you move through the motions, but your consciousness, it's still asleep. You're operating on autopilot, running the same program you ran yesterday, and the day before, and the 1,000 days before that. Epictetus, a slave who became one of history's greatest philosophers, taught that it is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. But how can you react consciously when you're not even conscious, when you're just a passenger in your own life watching the same movie on repeat? Picture this, you're standing at the edge of a river. Every morning you step into the same current without thinking. It carries you downstream, past the same rocks, through the same rapids, toward the same destination. You never ask where it's going. You never wonder if there's another path. You just float. This is most people's lives. The autopilot trap is subtle. It feels safe. It feels comfortable. Because to wake up, truly wake up, means confronting the uncomfortable truth that you've been half asleep for years. It means acknowledging that the life you're living might not be the life you chose, but simply the life that happened while you weren't paying attention. When your alarm sounds, your brain immediately reaches for the familiar worry, the familiar resentment, the familiar story about why your life is the way it is. And you wear that story like armor, protecting yourself from the terrifying possibility that you could be different, that today could be different. But here's what the Stoics knew. Awareness is the first act of freedom. You can't change what you can't see. You can't transform what you refuse to acknowledge. The moment you recognize you're on autopilot is the moment you can reach for the controls. Not tomorrow, not when things get easier, not when you feel ready now. Your morning isn't just happening to you, it's happening through you. Every thought you allow, every emotion you indulge, every narrative you repeat. These are choices. Unconscious choices perhaps, but choices nonetheless. What if you woke up tomorrow and instead of reaching for your phone, you reached for yourself? Instead of drowning in the noise, you sat in the silence. Instead of running from the discomfort, you leaned into it. The autopilot trap only works if you let it, and every morning you hold the key to your own cage. Number 2, the borrowed anxiety. The second mistake is even more insidious. You're carrying problems that aren't even yours. Before your coffee is made, before you've taken a full breath, you've already shouldered the weight of the world. You check your phone, messages, news, social media, emails, and with each scroll, each notification, each glimpse into someone else's crisis or celebration, you absorb their energy, their anxiety, their urgency. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Think about that. Really think about it. How many of your morning thoughts are about things that haven't happened? How many are about things that might happen? How many are about problems that aren't even yours to solve? Your friend is stressed about their job, so now you're stressed about their job. The news reports chaos on the other side of the world, so now you carry that chaos in your chest. Someone posted their perfect life online, so now you feel inadequate about yours. You've collected anxieties like souvenirs, and by the time you're fully awake, you're carrying a backpack full of borrowed stones. This is the theft we don't recognize, the silent robbery of your peace, your presence, your power. Imagine your mind as a pristine room. Each morning you have the choice to keep it clean or to invite in every piece of clutter from the outside world. Most of us fling the doors wide open and let it all flood in. The opinions, the comparisons, the catastrophes, the noise, and then we wonder why we feel overwhelmed before we've even started our day. The Stoics practiced a morning reflection they called premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. But this wasn't about anxiety, it was about preparation, about distinguishing between what's in your control and what isn't, about recognizing that most of what disturbs us exists only in our minds. Your morning should be sacred ground, not because you're escaping reality, but because you're grounding yourself in reality. Your reality. Not the curated highlight reel of others, not the fear-mongering of media designed to capture your attention, not the endless demands that will still be there after you've centered yourself. When you wake up carrying borrowed anxiety, you start the day already defeated, already exhausted, already convinced that life is happening to you rather than for you. What if you protected your morning like you'd protect a child, with boundaries, with intentionality, with fierce love? Number 3, the war against the present. The third mistake cuts deepest. You're fighting the only moment you actually have. You open your eyes and immediately you're somewhere else. You're in yesterday's conversation you should have handled differently, the opportunity you missed, the person you disappointed, or you're in tomorrow rehearsing the meeting, anticipating the conflict, solving problems that don't exist yet, anywhere but here, anywhere but now. Marcus Aurelius whispered to himself in the quiet of dawn, "Confine yourself to the present." 3 words. Infinite wisdom, because the present moment is the only place where life actually happens. It's the only place where you have any power at all, but we've been trained to reject it. The present isn't exciting enough. It isn't dramatic enough. It's just you in a room breathing, and somehow that's become unbearable. So we escape, we scroll, we plan, we worry, we do anything but be. Think of your mind as a stage. Every morning you have the choice of what performance to put on. Most of us stage yesterday's tragedy or tomorrow's thriller. We never consider staging today, right now. This breath, this heartbeat, this singular, unrepeatable moment of being alive. The war against the present is exhausting because it's a war you can never win. Yesterday is gone, unchangeable, untouchable, existing only in the stories you tell yourself. Tomorrow is a phantom, a projection, a possibility, but not a reality. And while you're fighting these battles in time zones that don't exist, now slips through your fingers like water, the Stoics didn't teach presence as a luxury. They taught it as survival. Because when you're present, you're powerful. You can respond instead of react. You can choose instead of being chosen for. You can create instead of simply endure. But when you wake up already at war with the present moment, resisting it, rejecting it, wishing it were different, you've already lost. Not because the day will be terrible, but because you won't actually be there for it. You'll be a ghost haunting your own life, always somewhere else, never quite here. What would happen if tomorrow morning you surrendered not in defeat, but in wisdom? If you opened your eyes and instead of immediately traveling through time, you stayed. You felt the sheets. You noticed your breath. You acknowledged, I am here, I am alive, this is enough. The present moment isn't the enemy. Your resistance to it is number 4, the identity prison. The 4th mistake is the most invisible cage we build. You wake up pretending to be who you were yesterday. Every morning without thinking, you slip back into the same costume, the same role, the same version of yourself you've been playing for so long. You've forgotten. It's just a character. The anxious one, the angry one, the tired one, the one who never gets a break, the one who always struggles, the one who can't change. Epictetus taught, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. But here's the deeper truth. You can't react differently if you keep being the same person. And every morning you make an unconscious choice to resurrect yesterday's identity instead of creating today's possibility. Imagine waking up with amnesia. You don't remember who you're supposed to be. You don't remember your limitations, your labels, your failures, your fears. You're just consciousness, just awareness, just pure potential. Who would you be then? But instead, the moment your eyes open, you reach for the familiar story. I'm not a morning person. I'm always stressed. I can't handle this. This is just who I am. And with each repetition, you strengthen the prison bars, you reinforce the walls, you lock yourself deeper into a version of yourself that was never permanent, only practiced. The Stoics understood that we are not fixed entities, but flowing processes. Epictetus said, no man ever steps in the same river twice, for it's not the same river, and he's not the same man. Yet every morning we try to step into the same identity, the same river, expecting different results. Your morning is an opportunity for resurrection, for reinvention, for remembering that the person you were yesterday doesn't have to be the person you are today. That identity is not destiny, that you are not your past, your mistakes, your limitations, or your fears. You are the awareness witnessing all of it, and awareness can choose. What if tomorrow morning before you put on the mask, you asked, who do I want to be today? Not who you've been, not who others expect, but who you in this moment choose to become. The identity prison only exists because you keep walking back into it. The door has always been open. You just have to remember you're free. Number 5, the gratitude blindness. The 5th mistake is perhaps the most tragic. You wake up cataloging what's missing instead of seeing what's here. Your eyes open, and within seconds the inventory begins. Not enough sleep, not enough time, not enough money, not enough success, not enough love, not enough progress. The morning becomes an accounting session where you're always in deficit, always lacking, always behind. Seneca wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." Read that again, let it settle. You are not poor because you lack. You are poor because you've trained yourself to only see lack. Think about this moment right now. You're breathing without effort. Your heart is beating without instruction. You have eyes that can see these words, a mind that can understand them, a body that carried you from sleep into another day of possibility. And yet, we wake up feeling robbed. This is the gratitude blindness, the inability to see the extraordinary hiding in the ordinary, the miracle of morning light, the privilege of having somewhere to go, someone to call, something to do. We've become so fixated on the mountain we haven't climbed that we can't see the ground we're standing on. Every morning you're given a gift wrapped in mundane packaging. Another day, another chance, another breath. But we tear through it like children on Christmas morning. Disappointed it isn't something bigger, shinier, better, we discard the present. Literally, the present looking for something more. The Stoics practiced amorati, the love of fate, not passive acceptance, but active gratitude for what is. Marcus Aurelius woke each day and reminded himself, when you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive. Not when everything is perfect, not when you've achieved your goals, now in the mess, in the middle, in the mundane. Gratitude isn't about pretending everything is fine. It's about recognizing that even in the difficult, even in the painful, even in the disappointing, there is something, a lesson, a strength, a moment of grace. And when you wake up blind to this, you spend your entire day searching for fulfillment in a future that never comes. What if tomorrow morning, before the complaints, before the comparisons, before the craving, you simply whispered, "Thank you." Not for perfection, just for presence, just for the chance to try again. The day you stop taking your life for granted is the day you start actually living it. Number 6, the reactive spiral. The sixth mistake sets the tone for everything that follows. You begin the day reacting instead of creating. The alarm sounds, and immediately you're in response mode. Respond to the notification, respond to the email, respond to the text, respond to the news, respond to everyone else's agenda, everyone else's urgency, everyone else's timeline. You haven't even chosen your own first thought, and already you're living someone else's day. Marcus Aurelius knew this trap intimately. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." But how can you realize your power when you give it away before you're fully conscious? Picture yourself as a creator, an artist standing before a blank canvas. Every morning, you're given that canvas, fresh white, full of potential. But instead of choosing your first brushstroke, you let others paint on it. Their colors, their vision, their chaos. And by noon, you look at the mess and wonder why your life doesn't feel like yours. The reactive spiral is seductive because it feels productive. You're doing things, checking boxes, responding, handling. But there's a profound difference between responding to life and creating it, between being the orchestra and being the instrument someone else plays. When you wake up and immediately check your phone, you're asking the world, what should I think about? What should I feel? What should I worry about? You're outsourcing your consciousness, and the world, hungry, demanding, endless, will always have an answer. It will always give you something to react to. The Stoics practiced morning contemplation not as escape, but as reclamation. A conscious choosing of where to direct their attention, their energy, their will. Epictetus taught his students, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do, not the other way around. You cannot be proactive in your day if you're reactive in your morning. You cannot lead your life if you're following everyone else's lead from the moment you wake. The reactive spiral doesn't just steal your morning. It steals your agency, your autonomy, your very self. What if tomorrow you created before you consumed? You chose before you responded. You breathed before you moved. What if you reclaimed that first hour, that sacred space, that moment of sovereignty? Your day doesn't begin when you wake up. It begins when you choose to wake up. There's a difference. Number 7, the procrastination of becoming. The 7th and final mistake is the one that breaks my heart the most. You wake up postponing who you're meant to become. Every morning is a question, who will I be today? And most of us answer, tomorrow's version. Next week's version, some day's version, the version I'll be when I'm ready, when things are easier, when I've figured it out. We postpone our own becoming like it's a meeting we can reschedule indefinitely. Seneca's words echo through the centuries. Begin at once to live and count each separate day as a separate life. Not next month, not next year, not when you lose the weight. Get the promotion, find the relationship, solve the problem now, this day, this morning, this moment. But we wake up and immediately negotiate with ourselves. I'll start tomorrow. I'll change on Monday. I'll become that person next year. And the tragedy isn't that tomorrow never comes. It's that today keeps passing unused. You keep trading the certain present for the uncertain future. And in the exchange, you lose the only time that's actually yours. Think about the person you dream of being. The calm one, the confident one, the disciplined one, the loving one, the free one. Now ask yourself, what's stopping you from being that person right now? Not eventually, not theoretically. Right now, in this moment, what's actually in the way? The answer is usually nothing. Nothing except the story that you need to be ready first, that you need permission, that you need different circumstances, that you need to become someone before you can be them. But the Stoics understood a secret we keep forgetting. You become by being. You don't wait to be courageous. You act courageously, and courage becomes you. You don't wait to be disciplined. You practice discipline, and it becomes your nature. Identity isn't discovered. It's forged in the daily fire of small decisions. Every morning you postpone is a morning you'll never get back. Every day you wait to become is a day you remain. And time, that most precious, most finite resource, keeps moving, whether you use it or waste it. What if you stopped preparing to live and just lived? What if you stopped becoming and started being? What if this morning, this ordinary, sacred, irreplaceable morning, was the beginning of everything? The person you're meant to be isn't waiting in your future. They're waiting in your choice right now. So here we are. 7 mistakes, 7 mornings stolen, 7 opportunities to reclaim your life. The autopilot trap, the borrowed anxiety, the war against the present, the identity prison, the gratitude blindness, the reactive spiral, the procrastination of becoming. These aren't just mistakes, they're the architecture of an unlived life. And every single morning, you choose whether to rebuild that architecture or tear it down. Marcus Aurelius, lying in his bed 2,000 years ago, asked himself, at dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, you have to go to work as a human being, not as a victim, not as a passenger, but fully present, conscious, capable, choosing. Your morning isn't just a routine, it's a ritual, a sacred declaration of who you are and who you're becoming. The moment you start treating it that way, everything changes. Tomorrow morning, you'll wake up again. The alarm will sound, and you'll face the same choice you always have, to sleepwalk through your life or to wake up, fully, courageously, and intentionally. The real question is, what will you choose? If this message resonates with you, hit that like button. Drop a comment below and share which mistake hit you the hardest. Share this video with someone who needs to wake up, and subscribe to the channel, because this journey of transformation is just beginning. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, choose wisely, choose consciously, choose you.